Hello, friends. And it's the Grumpy Old Man, broadcasting live from WDWL TV, Studio B, on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. All right. Oh, you gotta hog the camera now? Oh boy. A division of Grumpy Vulture Productions. All right. Enough. You had your 30 seconds of fame. Now give them the stink eye and go back in your cage. All right. That's enough. Back in the cage. Give him an inch, and he wants the whole arm. Speaking of, I'm turning blue. Not from the cold, from the surround lighting that we are testing in Studio B. What we've decided is all the equipment is going to get tested in Studio B, and we can make any modifications before we install it in Studio A, which is almost done. Studio A is about that far away. And you will know once we're in Studio A, first of all, the backdrop is different, and second of all, Studio A has sound effects. I miss the sound effects. I know the listeners don't, but I do. I love the sound effects. And we've added, we have added more sound effects. Updated the tablets, more sound effects. Because I've got one of them. Pardon me. Those soundboards, and first of all, the sound effects are too short, and second of all, there's only like 10, 12. I run my sound effects off apps on my tablets. One, I've got an LG 10-inch. I can't remember the model. It's a 10-inch LG. I've had it for several years. Still working great. Running a little low on battery, so I have to kind of keep it plugged in. But I've discovered another very reputable item. I have two of these Amazon Fire tablets. These are the 7s. And I'll tell you what. The only tough thing is getting the Google Play Store because Amazon, it's not in, and they really don't want it in. So going through the apps in order to get it in, but once I get it in, there's all kinds of sound effects on Google Play Store for free, which I have updated in the other tablet. This is my spare. Interesting story about I had the other one maybe 6-7 months. Maybe 8, but it wasn't a year old yet. And I went to turn it on one day, and it wouldn't connect to Wi-Fi. So I called Amazon's tech service, and I'll tell you what, their tech support is wonderful. And I explained to the guy, I says, I was using this yesterday. I shut it down like normal, and today, nada. So he says, all right, turn it on, and let's run it through some tests. So I did everything he said. Still would not connect to Wi-Fi. Did everything. As a matter of fact, he says, I've run out of ideas. So he says, how old is it? Now he says, less than a year. He says, what do you use it for? I says, sound effects for my YouTube. Well, what sound effects app do you have in there? I told him. He said, let me put you on hold. I'll be back shortly. I was on hold maybe 3-4 minutes. He said, first of all, you went through all the proper steps to get the Google Play Store. I said, yeah, I got it off the web, and it was guaranteed to work, and it did. And he says, that app has no bugs, nothing. So it's not the app. It's not Google Play Store. So he said, shut it down, power it back on again. So I shut it down. I powered it back on. He says, all right, see if it'll connect to Wi-Fi. Nope. Still refused. And without Wi-Fi, I couldn't run that sound effects app. So he puts me on hold. He comes back. He says, we're going to send you another tablet. I says, wonderful. Are you going to include a shipping label for me to return this one? Nope. It's yours. You bought and paid for it. We're going to replace it. That's our policy. So they send me the new one. I go through the steps. I install a Google Play Store, put the sound effects app in. I used it for 3-4 streams. And one day I was sitting here, for fun, I said, let me screw with this other tablet again. I fired it up. It loaded. Told me that there was an update due. I did the update. Update went through fine. Shut it back down. I was like, let me try something. Fired it back up. Went to connect to Wi-Fi. Went right through. Right through. Connected right up. I said, nah. I said, this is a quirk. So I disconnected from Wi-Fi, shut the tablet down, fired the tablet back up, hit connect to Wi-Fi, and it has worked ever since. I even, called the guy at tech support, and I said, you ain't going to believe this. I said, I no sooner get the new tablet, and the other one is working normal again. He said, well, enjoy your 2 tablets. So, this one's my spare. In case that one goes haywire again. And for free, can't beat it. So, got the tablets all set, checked the sound effects. We're ready to go over there as far as that. Still doing a little work on the new mixer, testing some microphones in-house. And like I say, Studio B or Studio A is getting close. In the meantime, I'm doing equipment tests over here because I know everything's running pretty good. Not to mention, I look like I'm up in Antarctica right now, sitting out in the snow, turning blue. Blue's my color. I like blue. It illuminates my head just right. Not to mention, like my buddy said, you look like a cadaver. Not the greatest comment to make to somebody who's 72 years old. You look like a cadaver. But at least I'll know what I look like when I'm a cadaver. Colorless. No, I just set everything up. Like last night, I had the lighting on this side, and then I put the lighting over here, and I said, well, let's all coordinate everything in blue, and then tomorrow we're going to try a different color and a different color, because I don't look good in white. I just don't. I don't know. I don't look good in white. Maybe over in Studio A, I don't know, we'll try it. Although we're going to have a little different lighting in Studio A. Studio A is going to have the big, 60 minutes, 2020 interview box. Wait till you see the sucker. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. According to UPS, it's supposed to be here tomorrow. Now, with tomorrow being President's Day, I know there'll be no mail. So, 2 items I was supposed to have tomorrow won't be here. Nada. But UPS is working. Matter of fact, the item was on the truck this morning, according to the tracking. So, tomorrow, when I go in on the tracking number, it should say, out for delivery to the grumpy old man to make him happy. And wait till you see this thing. I can't wait to see the thing. He did send me a picture. Got an email this morning and went, well, here's what the light looks like. I was like, holy shit. And he sent me 4 different places that I could buy the big deal, the white sheet that goes over the front of it, which he told me diffuses the light and makes it softer. Because with a gazillion LEDs that are inside this thing. He said it's kind of harsh. Even though it does have bi-color adjustment, so I can go with warm white or soft white. But he said you really want to use the diffuser. That big fancy term, diffuser. So temporarily, I'm gonna put a t-shirt over it. It's a white piece of cloth. That's what the diffuser looks like, a white piece of cloth. I'm going to hang a t-shirt over the light. If that makes it look like a 20, 60 minutes, 48 hours interview, then... Because that Studio A is going to be white light. Studio B is going to be all different colors. Because I've got different color filters for... Plus, the backlighting here has multiple... So, this studio is going to be the cadaver look studio. Studio A... You're first time you see Studio A, you're gonna be a shock and go, holy shit! That what that old man looks like? I also did little beard work. What do you think? Straightened it. Yeah. I've come into the new millennium. Yeah. I have a beard straightening heated comb made strictly for beards. Kind of neat looking. Now, I didn't toast it too much. I was just experimenting. But it's supposed to, although I got to put some conditioner, and I haven't really done much with the beard. But I've got beard products coming. Conditioner, beard shampoo. What's wrong with head shampoo? You got to shampoo your beard with beard shampoo. Just a gimmick. I figured to get some asshole to buy the shit, And special beard comb. Yeah. Comes with a beard comb. Once all the stuff there, I'll do a product reveal. And they're not sponsoring me, so but I figure basically I should start working on the beard. Since that's the only hair we're going to have. This is going to stay this way. Easier to maintain. As I mentioned, I have a new appreciation for women with long hair. Because even though the shit was only down to my shoulders, was a pain in the ass. And what they have to go through to make themselves spiffy for us. I got a new appreciation for them. Shampoo, conditioner, this, that, gel. Not for me. I tried the long hair. I liked it, except for the frickin' maintenance. So, we're going to stay this way. Because I got the fancy, multi-head head shaver with floating heads. That works like a charm. Except I screwed it up. Like a dummy, I screwed it up. I'm going to have to buy another one. See, the cutting head in the center, you have to twist it counterclockwise to remove it. And then when you put it back in, you twist it clockwise. Well, I went to clean it yesterday, and see, the outer heads just pop open. Well, I popped that one open and broke one of the lock tabs just enough where it barely stays in there. If I'm not watching what I'm doing, it falls out. Now, I could use it minus the one cutting head, but it wasn't that expensive. So I'm going to buy a new one, a blue one, metallic blue. And I'm on a blue kick for some reason, but no, that one's brushed nickel silver. The new one, which is this identical, I had a color choice. They called that one silvery. Silvery. Or blue. So I ordered the blue one. Like color makes a difference when you're shaving your head. Yeah. Looks nice in the mirror. Look at this, I got a blue shaver. But with that cutting head that keeps falling out, and you know, the thing that pisses me off is that thing has attachments. It's got a you know, if you got sideburns, it's got the sideburn trimmer, and then it's got a scrubbing brush. That's neat. You know, two different types, a coarse one and a soft one, and there's a couple other attachments. But you can't buy the replacement cutting head assembly. Nowhere. I even wrote the company that sold it to me, and they said, oh, you can buy all the attachments, except why can't you? That's our society today. Throw away everything, just throw it away. So when the new one gets here, I use the new one for shaving my head and the silvery one for the attachments. That way, I'm not wasting that much. The only thing I'm throwing away is, although I'm not throwing that away because I could use the cutting heads. I can take the cut, if they get dull. But yeah, we're just when it goes bad, nobody fixes anything anymore. And I've gone through this, and you guys are tired of hearing me. But yeah, we're a throwaway society. But the next garbage day, if I find a big screen TV I'm going to grab it. As long as the screen isn't cracked. Because I discovered you can fix them. Inside the TV, on the back of the TV, is a panel. And there are 2 circuit boards inside. That's all that runs your TV. 2 circuit boards. 2 circuit boards about this big. That's it. You got that big square box, and you got 2 circuit boards this big. And each circuit board has 2 plug-in connectors and 4 screws. And it's $50 to $60 for the circuit boards. So if the screen isn't cracked, $50, $60 for, $1,500, $2,000 TV set. And I don't necessarily need the remote because universal remotes are only like $15. So if I get a big screen, it's going to go in the back of the studio behind me. And I might have a fireplace one day or a volcano eruption. You can get all these looping videos. Because when I was up the street, in my studio up the street, I had a 35-inch flat screen hanging behind me, and I had fireplace and lightning and lava flow. It was kind of neat. The video just kept looping. And the neat one I had, and I saved it. I've got it on a memory stick. Matter of fact, I've got them all on a memory stick. Was in the middle of Times Square. So it was like I was sitting in traffic in the middle of Times Square. Cars would be buzzing past me. I loved it. It was cool. So I don't want to just bring the 35 in. Although if I can't find me a big flat screen, I will. But every week, somewhere in this neighborhood, somebody throws out a big screen TV. Now, sometime you can see the cracks. And other times you can't until you turn it on. But I've got a cure for that, too. Because I have a power pack that converts 12 volt DC to 110 AC. And I'm going to I thought I had it. It's somewhere under the workbench. It's like what the new trucks have. You can go to a job site with your Ford F-150 and plug a power saw in. Well, I've got this converter. And I will test the TV before I bring it home. Yeah, Grumpy's going to plug it in, hit the on button, and if there's no cracks in the screen, that baby's coming home with me. If the screen is cracked, it's going to gently go back on the tree lawn. That way I don't drag the piece of shit home and then have to stick it on my tree lawn. Sometimes the old man thinks Sometimes he don't. But that way, I will test it first. Although, it could blow up on me. Because if the circuit board has got it burned out, it might not activate the LED screen. See, most of the time people toss these TVs out because they break. You know, they go to move it and they crack the screen, or one of the kids comes in and throws a football across the room and it bounces off the TV set. Or, you know, a disgruntled football fan kicks the TV. So, I might end up dragging one home anyway. But I hate to order circuit boards for something that's broken. But yeah, I found this out from a guy a couple years ago. He says to me, he says, if you ever see any TVs on the tree lawn, pick them up, bring them to me. I'll give you a finder's fee, you know, $5 a TV. I said, what are you going to do with it? Repair it. I said, you can't repair these new TVs. And he showed me, he took me in the back room of his store because he messes with them in the store. It's not a repair shop. He just has a little workbench set up. And he showed me, he says, look, you remove this panel, look at 2 circuit boards. They come out, you unplug pop the new ones in. So, I says to him, I said, well, where do you get the circuit boards? He wrote it down. Here's the website. You just get the model number and the TV. $50-$60. So, I may have me a big screen TV behind me one day. Man, maybe not. See, kids today are mean. Not saying they weren't mean in my day, but I've already seen TV out on trash day and a kid come by and kick it. Why? Just to be mean? What did you gain from kicking that TV set? Nothing. Not to mention you ruined something I could have fixed. So, maybe one day Grumpy will have a big I saw an ad the other day for, what was it, 100 or 110 inch TV? Now, you know, the last time I was at Walmart, you know, 70s were big. Now they're I think it was 110 or 120. It was like the size of a wall. How big a living room do you have? Because in a normal living room in these old bungalows that were built back in the 40s and 50s, you'd go frickin' blind. The TV would be like the size of a wall. I mean, I could see a 60 or a 70. That's kind of pushing it. in these small, because the living rooms in these houses are like 12 by 12. You put a 120-inch TV on a wall in one of these houses, it's going to take up like 3/4 of the wall. Not to mention, you're going to be like sitting on top of the thing. You're going to go blind. Now, I could see if you were in a large, like if your living room was 20 by 20 or 30 by 30. But in a living room in a house here, 12 by 12 feet? But I think a 60 or 70 inch sitting behind me with lava flow. I sit here and duck the lava flow. I think that'd look cool. Like a big green screen. That way I wouldn't have to try to figure out how to use my Prism camera. And I wish I could figure that out. Because that one is cool. Actually, there's two backgrounds. But the one, I already got plans for it if I can ever figure out how to do it. I got somebody that was going to look into it for me. So hopefully one day I'll get an email that says, do this, this, and this. You big dummy. Like I say, I did it once. But I wasn't paying attention to what I clicked. And I couldn't get it to come back up again. Now, if I go into what they call Prism Camera that goes with the Prism Live Studio, if I just go into that portion, I can bring it up and put myself in it. The problem is I can't port it to here. I can't figure it out. And the instructions are not written for a 72-year-old grumpy ass old man. Although, like my buddy suggested, maybe I should send my, 7-year-old nephew over and he'll have it up and running in a couple of minutes. I'm not kidding. I was over at his house one day, and his 4-year-old granddaughter negotiated an iPad in a split second. She had that thing up and running the game on it, and I was like, I can't believe what I just saw. 4 years old. Amazing. Of course, this is technology for their generation. Girl running an iPad. When she's like 30, what are her kids going to be doing? What's the technology going to be like way off in the future? I would like to see it. Of course, I'd have to be 130 years old, but yeah. I could see her sitting back, watching her 4-year-old negotiate a virtual nothing, you know. You don't even need a screen anymore, you know. And her going, God, in our day we had an iPad. And her daughter be like, what's an iPad? And she'd happen to show her a picture and go, that? You guys use that? Yeah. We use that. Back when I was growing up, our cell phones were 2 tin cans and a string. And you know, as dumb as it sounds, it worked. Because my buddy lived behind me. And at night, we'd both open our bedroom window, and as long as you kept the string tight, you could hear. It's amazing. Sound waves shouldn't travel through string. But they did. Another neat thing that we made back when I was a kid. Here we go. Google time. A crystal radio. Google it, kids. A crystal radio. And you ordered this, and there was no battery. There was no power to it. And you had this little box. And you had a little earphone. And it was only one channel. But it was a radio. Amazing. At least we thought it was amazing. That was big technology in our day. A crystal radio. It was cool. I think we had to run an antenna. Yeah, you had this dipole antenna. It was 2 wires that connected together, and then 1 wire to the crystal radio. Another big thing in our day was shortwave radio. Another thing for you to Google, shortwave radio. They still make them today. And it was a radio that would receive radio broadcasts from overseas. You could listen to London and Germany and whatever was being broadcast. Those radios were famous during WWII. And there was a radio station called, Google time, Radio Free Europe. And they would broadcast during WWII. And you could get the latest news about what was going on. So you got Google time, crystal radios, shortwave radio, and Radio Free Europe. That's your assignment. Some Google time. Learn a little history. It's interesting. I know. Who wants to learn history? But it's interesting. And they still sell shortwave radios. I might look into one and just to see what it's broadcasting like today versus when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, because my grandfather bought me one. It was a little one, a little transistor shortwave radio. It was kind of neat. Of course, there was nothing really big going on, but it was neat to hear London. At that time, it was really difficult to make out their accidents, you know. Now, British accidents are, you know, almost like us Americans. But back then, it was like, what did he say? Google time. Again. Look up what the British call a cigarette. I'm not going to say it. You'll be shocked. Google what the British call a cigarette. And they don't call it a cigarette. What they call it will shock the shit out of you. I'll never forget the first time I heard the term. I had someone that came over that lived in London for several years. And when they got off the plane, after we got the baggage, the next thing that came out of their mouth was, I need a... And I was like, what? Oh, a smoke, a cigarette. I said, what did you... Yeah. Google that. You got a lot of Google assignments from the old man tonight. So let's go over it again. What are we Googling? Crystal radio. Shortwave radio. Radio Free Europe. And British term for cigarette. I think this one will shock you more than anything. Although maybe you already know. But for those of you that don't know, it's an eye-opener. At least it was to me. Yeah, I was like, you want what? I don't think I can help you there. And then it was cigarette. Oh, I can help you there. I got one right here. The first thing you asked for, I didn't have in my pocket. I had... That's it. I ain't going into it. No. Mic volume. Last night, when I did the replay, I realized it was ear popping again. Yeah. So I went in and did the audio adjustments here instead of here. You know, I can do the audio adjustments here. but it didn't seem to make a change. So I went into the settings in my Prism Live Studio and backed it down. So hopefully it's not too high and it's not too low. I'll find out on the replay. See, I don't do that pre-record and then edit and then replay. No. Like I said, you get what you get the first time around. No editing here. So, I should have mentioned the volume first. But, I got to see, what am I, minus 6.5 dB? All right. I'll make a note of that. And if 6.5 is too high, I'll back it down a little more. If it's too low, I'll bring it up. But according to my sound bars, I'm not blowing off into the yellow zone. I'm still in the green. See, it goes from green, and then yellow is really high, and then red. So I'm in the yellow, in the green. I'm not in the yellow. No. So with that, I'll see after the stream what the lighting looks like, and I'll hear what the audio looks like, and I'll make adjustments accordingly. And with that, I think it's time for me to start dinner. I got some meatballs to cook. Yeah, a little spaghetti tonight. I've been on a spaghetti kick. I don't know why. But I am. Of course I cheat. You know, jar sauce, pre-made meatballs, pre-made sausage, you know. Although I didn't get sausage today, so it's just going to be meatballs tonight. Tomorrow I'll get some sausage. Maybe they'll even have, you know, I get the loose. Because I hate to take sausage in the casing and peel it all apart. Nah. But lately the store hasn't had any hot Italian. They've had the ground sweet and the ground medium. No hot. Of course, the manager told me, well, we don't sell a lot of hot. Well, gee, can you at least get one or two in? And if you do, can I have you put one aside? I'll give you my phone number. Call them and say, hey, get your ass up here. We got the sausage. Now, I could go to the meat market because they always have it. But the grumpy old man's lazy. I don't feel like driving up there. I want to drive here. Less traffic. And with that, somebody wants to say goodbye. Go on. Go on. Give them the eye. Give them the